So many investors are always in the news trying to find the hottest stocks out there. And right now, it's all Nvidia and anything that has to do with AI. But the fact is that the greatest investors know that whenever you find something in the news, it's probably already too late. And while Nvidia has had a great run this year, I've currently found two stocks that are already actually outperforming Nvidia, and currently they're setting up to be bought again. These are great investment stocks. They're not trading stocks. These are stocks that you can invest in because they have great fundamentals. In this video, I'm using the same strategy that I used recently on Tesla, and the viewers of this channel saw a 30% return in just 4 days. But that's not all. If you sign up for my newsletter in the description below, I will share with you my most profitable stock strategy. Beginners and professionals can use this strategy. It is a strategy that helped me make a 70% profit in HIM stock in only 2 weeks. Don't let that chance slip away. Sign up to the newsletter, get that free lesson, and go through it. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications because I release these videos a day before the stock market opens so that you can profit in time. Now let's get into it. The first stock that I really like is called VRT. VRT has been going crazy this year. I know everybody's interested in Nvidia, but let's see how much it has returned. The stock actually went up 140%. Currently, it's up about 90%, which I think is really high. And what happened once it reached here? So Joseph Livermore is one of the greatest traders ever, actually realized that stocks like round numbers. And he found that whenever a stock reaches around 100 and it fails around that price, it will collapse. This law of 100 is a psychological law in stocks that is quite interesting. I haven't found any concrete evidence behind it, but I've seen it happening hundreds of times. If a stock shoots through $100, it will go straight to like 150 quickly. We found that. I'll show you many examples. It was LNTH. Once it crossed 100, I knew that, hey, it's going straight to about 130, 140. And we can see it stopped around 127. I got some profit on it. Nvidia did the same thing this year. Nvidia on earnings jumped over 100. And I knew immediately Nvidia is going up at 130, 120 to 140. And we can see from $100, it went to about 140. Of course, I didn't sell it at 140. I saw it around 130. But yeah, that was good. But back to our stock, VRT. So we can see it failed over the low of 100, and currently it's been setting up for multiple weeks. Another thing that I like about the stock is that it's at all-time highs. Once the stock is here at all-time highs, that means that there's very few investors who are hard in the stock. Everybody is just seeking to gain, but nobody bought the stock at maybe $200 and they're currently in a loss and they want to come and get revenge and sell the stock. So currently the 50-day moving average is sloping down. So this is not a stock that I would currently buy fully. I would just put in a little bit of my money as I wait for it to sell. The time to get aggressive in such a stock is when it comes and crosses above $110. So once it crosses above $110, it's time to get aggressive in this stock. So we saw the maximum gain it had this year was about 140%, which is, I think, even higher than Nvidia for this year. Let's see. Nvidia this year did 190%. So the other one did 140%. So very similar return as you can see, but everybody was still hyped in Nvidia, but they forgot about such stocks. So 140%. The other thing why the stock is great is that it has great earnings. So if you want to know what great earnings are, you must see earnings per share. You want to see 30% over the last 4 quarters. The stock only had 1 bad quarter, but it's pretty much been doing well. Revenue, you want to see an average of 15% over the last 4 quarters. This one, it's failing that. It's not getting the average of 15%, but it's being saved by the return on equity, which should be above 17%. So for me, once I find that it has 2 out of these 3, either the revenue, earnings per share, or return on equity, then becomes ready to go. So here it's fighting back through its 50-day moving average. So I would say you can add very little. Let's say you want to put in 1,000, you put in only about $300. And then you can start to become aggressive once it crosses above 110. Or for really patient investors, just wait for it to cross above 110, because the problem is that sometimes you might buy it here at 83 and then it takes 6 months to break out to 110, or maybe it might even never break out again. But I think it's a strong stock that could keep going higher. I haven't gotten a position in this yet because my portfolio is full, but it is a good setup. Now, the second stock I like is called Lovin. I'm loving it. Anyway, why is this stock good? Rule of 100. It seems that this stock also followed the rule of 100. When I look back in the past, so this stock has a lot of angry sellers. So now people who had invested it here at 113, they're waiting to sell. Now they've been waiting for 2 years. They're like, hey, the stock is coming back. Once it comes back, I get out and I cover up my loss. That's why when stocks have crashed, it's not easy to invest in them because there's always points of resistance where the other investors who are having a loss and they keep selling down the stock because they're like, oh, the stock has come back. Let me get out, get out even. Anyway, so we can see that the stock initially when it was an IPO, it came to $100 and faked everybody out for that day and then collapsed. And once it hit 100, it just went to $7. And then smart investors started getting it. They started accumulating. Now, of course, I didn't buy it during this time. The first time I bought the stock was here around $46. And why did I buy it? It was because it jumped out on earnings. So I actually bought it on this day around 54. I went for about, I remember, what was it? I think I did about a 50% return on this. So sometimes it's not like you're getting the whole move, but if you just get the good meat of the move, then that's good enough. And currently we can see that the stock has set up again. So it has come out and it is going above the all-time high that it created here. And I can see it's closing above, but it's very far away from its 20-day moving average. So what I normally do in such situations is I normally just buy a little bit. I buy cautiously. So let's say I want to buy $1,000. I'll put in maybe $400 and put my stop around 86. Because since it's very far away from the 20-day moving average, it has a very high affinity to be pulled back to that. So I'll put in a little bit up there and then wait for it. And then once it has a reaction, then I can add again. Or it might just fail and just come down. It could just come down or it could go up. So we're not really sure. But since it's currently distanced away from its 20-day moving average, which is this blue line, the white line is the 50-day moving average, don't overput in your money. Normally, you can get in with the big position if it's not too extended from the 20-day moving average, or if the breakout has a lot of volume. And this breakout here, it has volume, but not that much of volume. If it's something like Nvidia's here, the initial breakout, I'm going to remove all these drawings. Nvidia's initial breakout had a lot of volume, right? If I'm to put back the volume, we can see that the volume that day was about 56%. You can see it just a straight green candle. These are the situations where you can just put in the whole position size that you want to put in. So here, Nvidia, the stop was about 5 to 6%. Now you could have put in maybe a tenth of your portfolio and you could have done about 80%. So that was good. And then you could have added it back. Once it jumps out in earnings, then you did another 30%. Or for patient investors, what they could have done is they buy it here, then they hold through this correction, they add again once it touches the 50-day moving average, because the 50-day moving average is slopping up and Nvidia is bouncing off of that, and then they could have enjoyed a big return. So for Outperforming, since it doesn't have that strong bar, I would say that don't just go on with your base account, right? So you want to be putting in just a little bit, maybe $400 if you're trying to put $1,000, and then wait for it to react. Right? So maybe if you have bought somewhere like here, I'm just showing an example. The first buy was here, then you can wait for it to, then you can add here once it bounces off, or you can come and add here, which is what some people have. And then the average price could have been about 60, and then you could have been in bigger profits. Yeah. So the earnings are great. Return on equity is great. Of course, we can see it has super growth earnings. Earnings per share, I told you anything about 30% for the last 4 quarters or 50% in the last 2 quarters. This one is blowing those statistics out of the water. When you look at revenue, we need an average of 15%. This is blowing that out of the water. So this is a strong investment grade stock and it's breaking out again. The only thing that we should watch out is the strong resistance that's coming up. So I drew a line there so that everybody can see it. The line is at about $114. So let's see if we can draw it on the side. $114. So I would say if you're looking to invest in this stock, this is a great resistance to watch out for because there's some strong resistance. There's pent up buyers there, I'm very sure. So you have to watch out for that. But yeah, those are 2 stocks. Of course, if you like this type of information, sign up for my newsletter. I'll be sending out touch picks for free. That's the first thing. also be teaching you everything I know. It's not easy to keep making these videos every week. Sometimes I get really busy. It's way easier to just write an email rather than making a whole video. Other than that, thank you so much. I hope you have a good